Oh, hi.
Oh, hi. Hello, hello.
Hello there.
Good.
We're waiting for Fesk. He
Sure.
definitely messed up the schedule, like his schedule, because of daylight savings.
Oh.
We left him. So just so thank God I sent him a reminder like 4 minutes ago, and I was like, "Hey, it's almost time," and it was like, "Oh yeah, great to know."
I'll see you in an hour. And you're like, no, no. I mean, he gets a pass for like a week, but it's been a while, right? 2 weeks, a week? I don't even know. Hold
Hello, hello.
There he is.
on. There he is.
Hey, how's it going,
How's it
everyone?
going?
Thank God I made it.
Oh my God,
I
that
almost missed it.
that was almost a drama right there.
What day is it?
Yeah, it's been hard these days. I don't know. Like especially like I'm traveling this week and like these things tends to shake up your week a lot. So I don't know. My
Yeah.
schedule is always messed up.
Sure. And then whenever you're, traveling, time alone is just messed up when you just travel. So you got that on top of it. But good to see you.
Wait, where are you
Yeah.
traveling?
Oh, I'm going to São Paulo. It's another state down here in Brazil. I'm going there for Lollapalooza. It's like the music festival. So yeah, I'm staying 4 days there.
Okay,
Nice.
cool. Amazing. Well, that's so
Uh,
great.
a little vacation finally because it's been tough.
Is it why you tweeted about him?
About what? Sorry, it cut off a little bit. Alicia,
Sorry, I'm having
I think I
trouble
got
What?
rugged.
with the AirPods system. But yeah, I was saying like, is it why you tweeted about free time and like feeling guilty about free time?
No, not at all. Like it's not related, but like it's something that was in my mind because I don't know. When I'm traveling, it's way easier to just turn off work. But when I'm not, when I'm just at home and playing games, it's always a little bit guilty taking free time.
Oh yeah, but like home is not the same. I feel like. Can you hear me?
Yeah, yeah, I can.
Okay, sorry. It was for a second I was like panicking, but it's fine. So, just wanted to greet everyone in the chat and in the room. So we have Ethereal Zephyr, of course. We have Stefan, we have Maria, we have Shion Fox as well. Hello. Thanks for joining us. Um, this conversation is about mental health, and it's running because and thanks to Heal the Deal, which is Metaverse's emotional support club that I founded and that Fesk is also co-hosting for, usually with me. So this is a very chill conversation. We usually have a couple of guests. So today we have Adam back in the building. Adam was there um, a couple of months ago, I think. So it's nice to have you again. And we're just gonna have a chill conversation about everything that's going in our minds and lives. And we will obviously open the stage after that. If anyone wants to join or wants to just say anything that they have in their mind. And this is going to be very chill, so I feel like we will open very soon. But yeah, um, I wanted to check in first with Adam because we haven't talked voice to voice for a bit. So I want to know what is going on, what has been happening in your life, and how are you feeling lately? Like, how is it, or how are things going basically for you?
Well, hi, first of all. Thanks for having me. Good to see the two of you. And I'm honored to be here. I always love doing this. It's been a hot minute since we did the last one. And so I'm looking forward to this. Um, I'm doing okay. Um, Lots have happened since we last talked. Um, and I mean, some big picture stuff. I mean, talk about mental space to unpack. Big picture stuff. I actually early this year I had an accident where where I fell down my stairs and shattered my left femur. So that was a big deal.
Oh
Understatement,
my
right? That
God, I'm
was
so sorry.
no, that's okay. Honestly, I mean, I don't remember who knows what at this point. Early on when it happened, I talked about it, and I sounded like a bit of a broken record telling people, but there's a bunch to unpack there because it was more than just the leg, and this is a good space to talk about what that what else it was. But yeah, on the surface, without getting into too much crazy detail, it's cold and icy in December, and that's not, or January, and that's not how I actually got hurt. I was in my house. I was going down hardwood floor stairs, wearing socks, going a little too fast, missed a step, and then just fell hard. And then bit into the wall, onto the floor, and it was bad. I knew immediately it was broken, and luckily my wife was quick on getting an ambulance here. And About a day later, I had some emergency surgery. They tell you it's if you break your femur, it's the worst pain the worst pain from breaking that bone in the body, and I'll confirm that.
Because
um,
it's such a big bone, I
oh,
assume.
it's a big
Yeah.
bone, and I actually broke it. People were saying like, "Oh, are you in a cast?" I'm not in a cast. It's pretty wild. I broke it really high up by my hip. I didn't break the hip joint, but I broke it.
Oh,
Yeah, I broke it so high up that they couldn't put a cast on it. And so instead, they put a metal rod through the bone itself, and so I was cleared to walk the next day, even though it was like as tolerated, which you have a lot of pain the next day. But I took like 10 steps the next day, which is insane. What modern medicine, is capable of. Um, I've got about I feel like I'm at like 70% right now, but it's going to take about a year to get to 100. But they do expect a full recovery, so that's great. You know, pain is fairly manageable at this point. Um, Physical therapy has been helping, but that's all related to the physical impact of this. Um, but let me tell you what I was not prepared for, but that was the mental side of this. That's a whole thing.
Yeah,
yeah.
that
I'm.
that
Oh, sorry. Go
so
ahead.
no, I was just going to ask because I feel that in this fast-paced world that we live in, as soon as we have like a medical emergency, like the first thing that comes to mind is, oh my God, I cannot work. Oh, I will select behind on something because I'm not like 100%. So like, I would love to ask you like how you dealt with that, and maybe that's the mental side of things that we're going to talk about.
For sure. There's a lot. And so feel free to like jump in because I'm just gonna kind of ramble, I think, about this stuff. Um, but the week leading up to the accident, there was a lot going on. I was moving 100 miles an hour every day. I mean, the space, I was grinding, and um, I actually had an opportunity for a big drop. Uh, and I had like two other projects that were, happening at the same time, and it was a lot. It was stressful and it was a lot, but I was excited about it. But it was taking a toll, and honestly, that's part of the silly reason why I felt like I could have and should have just walked down the stairs, but I had things that I felt I needed to do quickly, and so that was all related to that. And I'll tell you, nothing stops you in your tracks like an injury like that. I am grateful that I didn't hurt my wrist or my hand that I used to draw with. I'm lucky I didn't hit my head. Um, in all accounts, it could have been way worse. It wasn't even the leg I drive with, right? So like all things could have been so much worse. So one of the things that comes from this is gratitude. Um, Immediately, just once you know you're going to be okay, because it was that side, man, the mental side of that, the mental side of the drive, the ambulance driving, to the hospital. You don't know how you're going to be. You don't know, and you leave I left my family behind and just kind of going like, oh, well, I have a will, I have things set up in place if I don't make it. But like, that's the first time I had that thought of, you know, um, what if I don't make it? And I say that because, you know, a leg injury doesn't seem that way, but you don't know what's going on under the surface if, there's internal bleeding or you don't know what you don't know. So and I was freezing cold and I was going into shock and it was terrifying. And I didn't actually wind up going into full shock, but I was, you know I had symptoms of it. And so you start to look at things a little differently in those moments. And um I kind of understand why people who are mortally wounded um just kind of eh, like want to go to sleep and drift off and accept what's happened, because I felt, I wasn't, thank God, wasn't mortally wounded, but I felt the urge to sleep. I felt the urge to let go. And I just kind of fought that, thinking that I can see the peacefulness in that, but that was terrifying too, because I was like, well, that's not how this is going to go. I'm going to have to fight to stay awake. But I could understand the appeal for someone who's in a situation where they maybe can't control that. So that's just interesting. That's an experience I've never had before. But yeah, I went to uh, you know immediately it was also an understanding that these big projects I was working on and these big drops that I had coming up, there was there was no way it was going to happen, right? Like, there was denial that this just happened. There was, you know, acceptance, because I had to accept that this was going to change everything. Even if I was going to be fine, I wasn't going to leave the hospital for a few days, and that alone, like, I needed more time, not less, to work on these things. So then, I let a lot of people know, and I felt awful, and I felt like I was letting people down. And this is my full time thing is NFTs. So there's that part of me that's like, this is, like, I rely on this. This is my livelihood. So it was terrifying, not knowing how this was going to go. But once once I knew that I was going to be okay, um, I started looking at things um, and realizing that it was interesting. Before I left the hospital, there was a woman who was um, doing testing on me to, kind of clear me to leave. And, we were in this like dark, cozy room, and she was like, examining the leg and stuff. And then she kind of like just stopped and said, you know, take this just for what it is, but the universe was telling you to slow down. And she knew nothing about like my story. I didn't tell her anything. But that understanding of like, not physically, but just everything. And I felt it, and I broke down. Like, I felt that hard. Like, that they're not just moving too fast, or and it's not to say that ambition isn't, a good thing, but it was realizing that life, there's always a trade-off for everything in life. If you go hard with one thing, you're not paying attention to something else. And so, I think the balance was off in, looking back in retrospect, the I had, in an effort to support the ones around me, financially with all this, I could look back and see that there were times when I was not as present as I could have been, and moving forward, there was a lot of gratitude for the hard lesson that I was being taught. And just taking a step back to look at all this and realize that there's more going on than just this, and it's going to be okay. And there's the next big thing that I would say is the outpouring of love and care from anything from total strangers to new friends to old friends to neighbors. My community, and when I say that with a broad brush that goes from the people who are living in my town to you guys and the people who I've met over the last year and everyone around me. The community, the outpouring of love was overwhelming, um, and beautiful and unexpected. Um, and so I learned a lot from this, and with the optimism that I'll get back to 100%. I don't, obviously I wish it didn't happen for physical reasons, but there's a lot of silver linings and takeaways that came from this experience.
Wow. Thank you for just saying all of this, Adam. I feel like this has really resonated with me in a lot of ways, especially because, as you may know, I have a broken foot right now. So, um,
Mm-hmm.
so
I'm sorry.
I
Yeah.
kind of feel you right now. Um, and it was so very interesting to hear you talk about that connection between mind and body and how that utter utter shock really just grounded you back into that reality of yours, like the one that's not related to work or um, anything that we are setting our self expectations for, but really just the things that we already have and own, which is basically our body and mind. So it's really interesting, but also I understand the shock that comes with that because obviously we tend to, yeah, keep these things for granted, I guess, in a way. The fact that we are able to push ourselves every single day, and the fact that we assume that the next day will be the same as today is something very normal to experience and think about. But also, in retrospect, it's also just like it made it makes no sense for me because like obviously we never know what tomorrow will be, and all of a sudden you can just be trying to move out the house and just like get up a stair and break your foot for absolutely no reason on like a really plain surface, right? So you never know.
Yeah. It happens so
uh
fast. Everything does, and life can change so quickly, so
yeah.
so so dramatically too, and so quickly.
Fesk, you want to say something?
Yeah, I just wanted to quickly add on your story, Adam. And I had no idea that your issue was this serious. So, like, thanks for
Me
sharing your
neither.
story. Yeah, I thought to me, oh, Adam broke his leg and he's fine. Like, I had no idea this was like
And I feel so
this.
bad now for not like inquiring about that
Oh,
further. Like
don't
I
don't
didn't
don't.
know.
There's too many things to keep up with. I anyone who knew, because I mean I put a couple messages out, but I wasn't actively beyond those initial messages. Like I let people know something happened. This is the gist, and I'm doing better now. But I wasn't gonna, you know, go too hard on that. I took a break, and we can talk about that side of things too in a little bit. But for people who didn't like say anything, I didn't look at anything like a negative. Like there's way too much. Like I miss so much in this space, even when I'm active as hell. So I didn't look at anybody negatively, or you know what I mean. Like don't
Mm-hmm.
don't put
Yeah,
yourself there. Like that's certainly not a thing.
Yeah, thank God, because the first thing that I did when I knew about it, I cracked a joke. I don't know if you remember that. Oh, Adam,
Mhm,
you are not as
mhm.
fluffy after all.
What did you do?
But
What did you say? What, like, that's a lot of a coping mechanism right there.
No, it was
I don't know.
funny.
Like
It was
as
funny.
soon as
I use humor all the time for especially serious situations. I thought it was funny.
yeah, but like just getting back to my point, like I thank for sharing this story because like I think that everyone when we have like these experiences that kind of puts our life in the line, it's really important in some way because it makes us rethink, even if it's a broken foot or broken leg or like something even more serious than that, like, and the overall message, like, as awful as it is, like, it's always important to try to understand the message that the universe is telling you. And like, uh as Adam said, like, sometimes we get so caught up in the grind and like working every single day, and we end up like not valuing certain aspects of our lives that we actually should. And sometimes it's really important to slow down and like appreciate life in some ways, so like thanks for sharing, Adam, because like I had some experiences in the past, like similar to that with hospital and stuff, but like it was years ago, and like it seems to me that like after like 1 or 2 years, we end up like forgetting about it and like back into the grind. So it's always
Hmm,
important to me
hmm.
to listen to these stories.
Yeah, and I think that there was probably because it's easy to get complacent, and it's human nature to not focus on something like this 24/7. And it's important to hear these things over time to, like you said, it's almost like a a mental booster shot there. Like, but I think it's also important to to try to pay more attention to the other things that you're missing, right? Like there were probably other signs that I just ignoring um, until I got this one. So yeah.
Denial is something that I would love to touch on as well because uh, I think that's what we're on about right now at this point of the conversation. And I feel like that's something I usually experience as well whenever things tend to go wrong. I'm just like, nope, this is not happening. Like, I'm gonna push through. Tomorrow is going to be a good day. I'm gonna smash all of the things that I want to do and all of that. And with the foot injury, it was the same thing. So 2 weeks ago, I broke my foot, and my first thought about that is just to stand up, go take a shower, and say, "No, it's fine. It's not broken. I'm gonna do everything as if nothing happened, and I'm gonna keep moving stuff around the house and just doing stuff." I say to my partner, I say, "Hey, you go and do your ski weekend with your friends and all of that. I just stay alone the whole weekend with a broken foot because I'm just in denial because I have so many things to do that this cannot happen. Like in my mind, I'm just like, nope, I can't do that. I can't be injured. So I'm just gonna pretend that it's not happening. Um, and I feel like that's a mindset, right? But that's not only something that you have when it comes to physical events or anything. It's just a mindset with everything, with work, with anything that we experience in life and in our daily routine. uh we just keep going. We just never see the signals, basically, or we just avoid them for preferences, I guess.
I think you're right. I definitely, I mean, without getting too graphic, um, denial and just like as soon as I did get injured, my leg was not in a very natural position, and my instinct was to put it into a natural position. And that I straightened it out, which was incredibly painful. But in my head, it was like, well, if I can just put it back to what it's supposed to look like, it'll be fine. It's a very powerful tool, denial. That
Dude,
did not work.
there a few years ago I broke my nose, and my first instinct when I saw myself in the mirror was like, nope, I'm putting back into the place. Like I'm not leaving my house with my nose like this. I'm not going to surgery. I'm putting this back into its place.
Right, you just put
So
it back. You'll be fine.
yeah, but I actually did. I actually did, but it turns out that I did it wrongly, like in the wrong way, and I still have problems in my nose till this day. But like
Well, I'll
I
tell you
didn't
what,
I
you
didn't
got to get
have to
back.
go into surgery.
You gotta, you should get a refund on your medical degree then.
The extent that we go to just feel like we're
Yeah,
okay and that we don't need assistance and that we can do everything on our own and by
yeah,
ourselves is just astonishing sometimes. The fact that we are so entitled to not seek for help because like we're taught to just like keep it going and you can
you can
do
do
this
this.
and whack me and all of that. Well, no, and GMI,
Yeah.
my friend, it's not gonna make it this time. So I'm afraid to tell you. But again, I think it's a mindset, right? Um, and the fact
It
that
is.
of course we see friends on Twitter and all of that, and people that we know talking about certain issues that they have or they like events that they encounter and all of that. Um, and I don't know, like it's always like, hey, hopefully it's going to be okay, and then moving on to the next thing. But that's just the habit of like the routine that we're into right now, and the pace that we have set for ourselves as well. And I feel like it contributes to the way we treat ourselves in our personal life as well. I don't know if
Mm.
that makes any sense, but the way you act on socials and in the community, etc., that's something that can bleed into your own personality and your way of being. And sometimes you just you just keep that pace when it comes to your personal life, and when really you should try to dissociate the two of them.
Mm.
But it's so difficult. Like I don't know, like can you do that? Because I can't. Like it's not possible for me.
No, I don't know if that's incredibly difficult. It takes a lot of discipline. Um, I
Yeah.
yeah, and more power to people who can, but I think that to some degree, most of us can't, separate things like that. Um,
Hmm. So
Also,
I wanted
yeah,
to ask
Fesk,
you. Oh, sorry. Go
sorry,
ahead.
Fesk, you want to add to
No, I was just going to add that it's been like 30 minutes. Alicia, maybe like just ask Adam a question. Maybe we could like open the stage for people to join. It's always
Of
nice to bring more people into the
course.
conversation.
Of course. Anytime anyone wants to raise their hand, please just do. Um, yeah, I thought I was clear, but I wasn't. But you can do that at any point in the conversation right now because like the room is super private. Anyways, it's just a few of us, so it's all good. But yeah, in the meantime, raise your hand. And Adam, I wanted to ask you, like, how do you feel like so you mentioned earlier that it put things in perspective for you, especially in your personal life, I assume with your family and all of that. Um, what what does that change in your daily habit and routine? And did you reconsider certain things? Did you, reshape your schedule? What does that imply for you to have gone through that event in your life?
Sure. Good question. Well, for starters, it was realizing that there needs to be a better balance. And it's still a daily struggle, but understanding that the giving myself more boundaries when it's family time or when the work doesn't absolutely need to be worked on, um, to be more present, to be in the moment, to play with my kid more, to not feel like to give myself um, the allowance to not worry about the thing that I'm not doing on my career side while I'm enjoying life outside of work, right? Because even though I'm making art and I love it, it's my job, it's work. And so, and because I work from home, it's even blurrier because everything is just all one thing, right? But kind of just giving myself, and sometimes I'm not perfect at this. Like last night, my kid wanted to just play with some blocks, and the way I am with the injury, I couldn't go over, but he knew, and he was just going to do his thing. And some nights, he'll read and I'll read separately, and we're in the same room, and my wife will do the same. But like last night, he was doing his thing, and I was going to sit on the couch with the iPad and do some work. And my wife was like, "Well, that's not really like there's a difference, even though." Because I looked at that like, yeah, I could just, yeah, he's not, doing like he's doing his thing. I could do my thing, but it's not needed, right? Like I don't need to do that right there. And then I didn't. Thank you to my wife for reminding me, right? And then I was able to just be open to whatever conversation came from that. Like even if it wasn't fully active, I was present. Um, and so giving myself like space to not worry about missing time with something else because I'm, you know, not distracted, or just trying to be more present in the moment when when there's time for that, separating those things out. Yeah, because like I said, it put things in perspective, and the given that it's nothing is guaranteed, um, just finding a way to enjoy where you're at when you're in whatever moment you're in. That was that was the takeaway there.
I love that. It just reminds me of acts of mindfulness and the concept of mindfulness, which is something that we often dismiss um, for a lot of personal reasons or professional reasons, of course. Um, but I've been really looking into that lately and trying to pay attention to what's surrounding me, especially so I don't have to fall over on my other foot and break the other one. That would be a good thing first. But yeah, that's actually an example right now. But the idea of being present in the moment where someone is next to you, whether it's your family and you're used to see them, or your partner, your kids, or anyone, is really important for me. And I feel like that's something I've been really dismissing lately, especially with moving out and doing taxes and all of that shit that is really just not fulfilling. Like mindfully speaking, it's not fulfilling to have to move and like take care of all of these very rational things. So when you have some time to do something for yourself, I feel like it's important to just be there, hear the things that surrounds you, um, feel, just taste and sense all of those things that are so important, and that's just something that we take again for granted. So it's very inspiring to hear you talk about that and the way that your perspective and your inclination to those things have shifted as well. And I'm very, very proud of you for doing so. It's very emotional to hear you just talk about that, um, especially after all of what you've been through. So yeah, thank you for that.
Hmm. Thank you for that. I appreciate that. Something I don't have a good segue to this, but I think that this is another thing that came from this that I think is just important for people to hear is that um, when after I got hurt, I I wanted to part of maybe that denial, or I don't know what, just wanted to get back into making art and doing things, and you know um, fairly quickly I tried to do that, and and I hated all of it. I hated everything I was doing. Everything was just really just nothing was working. And then I was like completely demotivated, um, and didn't want to do anything at all. And this is, that it was a terrifying feeling. Like, what if this is how I'm going to feel? Like, what if I'm not going to get back into this? Everything is just rubbish. And um, it was what I found fixed that for me was I stopped fighting it. So I was kind of like going upstream where I was trying to too hard, trying to make some art from this, trying to do like in the moment. I was just trying too hard. And once I let go and accepted that this is sit with whatever this is, don't try to make anything or be creative about it right now. Like give myself time to um to just not do those things that I was struggling with. It it wasn't until then that things got easier because it was so much less stressful, and I didn't take too long off. I thought I was going to take longer. It's probably only about a week or two, but after that, things just came back. Like I don't know, and it wasn't. It was a lot more natural, and so just there was like just that understanding that fighting against the thing that wasn't working. It wasn't like if I push through, I'll get through this and I'll make a breakthrough. It was pointless to push that hard through something that was telling me not to do it. So just I just thought that was a really interesting takeaway that once I accepted, and I don't really watch a lot of TV. I don't really watch like I don't personally. I don't really play video games. Like I don't do a lot of other things in life. I don't know what like so having like a week of just like watching random shitty TV or movies and just allowing myself to not be on, if you will, creatively and just observe, take in, relax, find time to heal, and then things were a lot easier after that. Meanwhile, I wound up like I knew that I wanted to make art uh, that related to this, and so I did, and I'm almost done making like pieces for that now. But like, yeah, just gave myself like time and space for that.
I think that overall, Adam, that's really similar to creative blocks. I at this point in my life, I think that when I have a creative block, there's no point in like fighting against it. It's just like as you said, like you kind of need to go with the stream and let it flow a little bit. You will find that the more you don't fight it and try to work around it somehow, give it a little bit of space, it's to me the best approach always.
Totally agree. And that's going to be the takeaway next time I have creative block is to just not fight it and find something else and move on and come back
Yeah, I
and take
feel
a
that like
shower.
I feel like because we live in such a fast-paced space, not only with NFTs but like with client projects and all that, we kind of feel the urge to fight it and get back on track like as quick as we can. But like that's not how it works with creativity. We are in an industry that yeah, sometimes you just can't, and it's important to give the space to breathe and understand that okay, if I'm not creative today, I will be tomorrow. It's not like I won't be creative forever.
Yeah,
Word.
absolutely.
I wanted to say something about creative blog that I thought about lately, and that came to my mind as we are having this conversation, as well as that the form of creative blog that Adam is experiencing, for example, is obviously tied to the fact that he had this traumatic injury. But the idea of trauma in creative blog for me is very interesting because it doesn't have to be like a huge trauma, but the fact that we are living teeny tiny small traumas every single days and moments of shocks and realizations just puts us into creative block, which is a very normal thing because it's part of the process to just like become the new you, the you of tomorrow, because every single day you're like a new version of yourself. um but when we fight creative block, it's more about trying to fight against the fact of the fact that you're becoming someone else, and shifting, and trying to stay the person that you were like yesterday, right? That version of yourself. Yes, Fest, go ahead.
No, sorry, I don't mean to cut you off. I just wanted to add on top of that because as you mentioned, like creative blocks can come out of fucking nowhere, and it can be because of like the tiniest things ever. You can be having like an amazing creative day, and I don't know, you open Instagram and you find a shitty comment about your work, and boom, like Jesus Christ, now I don't have any creativity at all because your mind kind of keeps going back to that negative comment that you just saw. So like it can be something as little as that, or something like, as you said, more traumatic and like more intense. But it's crazy, like creative blocks can come out of nowhere because of the little things, and it's important again not to to super fight it, but try to work around it somehow.
Definitely. We have Olaf in the chat, so hi. Thanks for joining us. We are here to hear what you have to say.
Hi, everyone. Alicia, thanks so much for having me up. Adam, I only kind of came in
Of course.
halfway through and understand from what's happened that you broke your leg. Hope you're feeling better, man. That sucks.
Dude, thank you. I appreciate that. I am feeling better. Manageable pain now with some meds. I'm able to walk assisted. I got a sweet cane. I got that going right now. But I appreciate that. I saw your DM, but I can't do three things at once.
Oh,
But I appreciate that, man. I really
totally
do.
understand. As long as your cane has a sword in it, you should be all good. So,
Well, don't tell anybody. I mean, my
yeah.
goodness, it's blowing up my spot.
Sorry, man. It's a secret. Yeah, I was just going to comment on the creative block, and something that I've personally started to try and take on when it comes to creative block is to get past the idea that whatever I'm doing or whatever I'm working on is worthless or will suck or isn't as good or doesn't hold up. And the moment I kind of devoid myself of that, I can get back into a creative space because it's usually just a hurdle. It's not a wall. It's just something that the moment you get over, even most recently, I've been trying to learn ZBrush a lot more. And I keep hitting these, what I think are walls, until I finally said, like, even though I feel like this is garbage right now, I'm going to keep going, and I'm just going to keep putting all the flavor and the subtleties and the small things that I was going to do, but feel like I need to get to that ultra high level first. And then suddenly you realize, oh wait, it did work out, and it is as good as I thought it was going to be, and I'm the only one who kind of stood in my way. So and then beyond all that, just realizing that most of the people that are successful have stepped aside and devoided themselves of that feeling of judgment that is going to come. And I think this speaks to film and art and writing and poetry and music and you name it. And it just goes across the entire spectrum of creative talent out there, that the moment you step aside of that and not worry about it, it's always going to be a part of the equation, but if you can let go of that, man, you're just setting yourself up for so much more creativity and success. And I know it's tough to do, and that's what I usually kind of self-check with when it comes to those situations, and try not to think about that, because it is what you almost focus on too much. It's like naming your band before you've written a song. You're so worried about what everyone's going to think, but the thing hasn't even been created to comment on. And even then, there's people out there that don't like Fight Club or Jurassic Park or you name it. Like, everyone's got different opinions and perspectives, so don't worry about it. Someone will love it and someone will hate it. That's all.
Yeah, I think that's amazing. I think that's a great advice. And also, I find that one thing that had helped me in that same realm is if I make something that at the end of the day I'm happy with, that I can be proud of, then that's all that matters. Like, that's the win, whether someone else likes it or not.
I think
And then,
that's the greatest barometer. It's like I'm working on my
Yeah.
first feature film, and whenever I get asked, I said I'm making that movie for one person, and that's me. And I feel like I've got a broad enough sense of taste and appreciation that I'm sure at least a couple other people out there will enjoy it too. But if you try and make it for everyone, you're gonna get gray.
mm-hmm. No, that's a good call.
Good thing to remind yourself about that, especially in the context of NFTs. Just throwing this out right now, but when it comes to creating a project or creating your roadmap or whatever, I feel like it's important to remind yourself about those things, especially because like um, now that we are creating things for the metaverse and for NFTs and for collectors, I feel like we just tend to dismiss what we really want as individuals sometimes, because artists, creatives, and all passionate people are usually people pleaser. We want to make people happy, which is a good thing, but we just forget about making ourselves happy first. So it just really resonates with me on that note. But yeah, thank you for your intervention. Actually, Olaf, really appreciate you for that.
No problem. Thanks so much for allowing me to chat. And one other note was the talking about presence, and a great quote when I had my first kid. I've got two now. That kind of resonated with me was proximity doesn't equal presence. And ever since I heard that, I've tried to make sure that anytime I'm hanging out with them, that I'm actually engaged, even if it's them describing Minecraft and what they're doing for the 100th time, or a chest in Zelda or something. I try to really pay attention and listen and be there, as opposed to constantly being distracted, because I know I get distracted a lot and I'm constantly thinking about all sorts of things. So proximity does not equal presence.
I love that. I love it. It's incredibly true, and it's something. It's always it's a daily reminder, because everything just pulls you in so many different directions. But it's absolutely important, and I couldn't agree more.
Me too. Thank you for that. I feel like it's going to be the motto of my day right now. I'm gonna try and do that, even though I have obviously a ton of things to do. Uh, I'm gonna try and be more present, even for myself. I feel like sometimes I'm just not present for myself. Like I assume that I am because I am in my body, but I am not actually present for myself, which is a very weird sensation to have. But yeah, I guess it's a bit of dissociation there, but um, I appreciate the advice. Thank you.
And self care is so important too. I mean, that's a lot of that is just not being there for yourself. Like that's super important.
Yeah, on the note of presence, like how hard it is to keep being present. Like I was fully present in this conversation until I just checked like a render that had been rendering for like 7 hours, and I found out a mistake. So like after that, I completely fucking zoned out of the conversation. And like as soon as you guys got back into the presence, like topic was like, oh fuck, like I'm not present anymore, and I'm like already worrying about something else. So like I just wanted to drop the note how hard it is to be fully present, like and keep present.
Fine. It's super fine. Don't worry. We all do that. I do that a lot on spaces, except for this one usually because I'm just like, of course I'm the host, so I gotta be there. But also because it's also my moment. Like when I do these chats, for example, I just like put my laptop like somewhere else in the room, and I just walk around the room with my phone in hands and just like do something else and be present, even though you can't control thoughts in general. Like thoughts are just like vessels that just go through the space that is your mind. It's just that we give them too much attention sometimes. They just have to pass, but it's fine. Don't you worry about that. Um, I actually wanted to ask you guys and everyone in this room, like, what does relaxing and self-care means to you? Like, what's a self-care and relaxing moment for you? Because for me, I guess it's gonna be like reading a book and eating something, like very basic. But I've been asking myself this question lately, like, what does relaxing means to me, really? Because I have a few ideas of like relaxing things to do, but is it really relaxing for me, or is it just the idea of that and how people tell you that it's relaxing to do it? I don't know. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does make sense. I mean, if you find yourself doing something or going through emotion just because someone tells you that's what relaxing is, definitely check that. um, for me, I mean, there's a handful of things like um, I've got a record player, put a record on, light a candle, and wear a robe. Sometimes back before I could take baths, because I can't really do this just yet. But taking a bath is amazing. Don't do that nearly enough. That is like, I don't know why I don't take like baths all the time. Which, to clarify, I shower. But yeah, no, baths, robes, um, candles. Those are things that are both stereotypical but also very effective for me. Sometimes, even if I'm uh, like drawing, I'll go and sit with a candle and a record on and just draw in a chair. Like I got a comfortable chair. So that is self care for me. Or when it's nice outside, going outside and like actually enjoying the weather and not just being inside all the time.
I think the moment you can be devoid of guilt and obligation, that's relaxing. And where you don't feel like something is lacking somewhere, like you're not neglecting work or people or family or any kind of obligations. Like I usually just unwind by watching a TV show at night, and that's kind of like my Zen moment. Or a movie that I've been wanting to watch, but often it's like playing music or creating for just me, and there's no client or end game. It's just learning or having fun. But I think the moment I was able to check out of guilt, and constantly feel like I need to be productive. Like I have three computers, so like if they're all not doing something, I feel like I'm unproductive. But then I realize I've now punished myself in terms of how much productivity I have to get out, and it's a double-edged sword. So being okay with not doing anything, like it's okay to turn the car off. You don't have to go 100 miles an hour 24/7. You just blow your car out. So yeah, I think it's a tough place to get to. And I definitely, the moment you're older, you have family, you've got other obligations, like you're much more okay with being like, it's 5 p.m, I'm wrapping up for the day. Whereas when you don't have kids or a family or any of those obligations, you're just go go go, because that's sort of the drive you have, and you're trying to catch up or make it or whatever it might be. But I think you've got to be okay with just stopping, and whatever that is, whether it's going for a walk or having a drink or taking photos or reading a book or having a bath, or it doesn't matter what it is. It's just what it puts your brain into.
Yeah, yeah, 100%,
Yeah,
man. I mean, that's so cool.
100%.
Right?
Yeah.
Like just the mentality of that. It's hard to do. It was easier to do when I had a 9 to 5 and I didn't know what an NFT was, because 5:30 would come around and I would be
It's
like,
it's funny you say that. Like the NFT thing, like when NFTs first kind of broke through, and you're watching people make just gobs of money, and you feel like, well, like why isn't everybody? And then you realize what the art world is like, and you start to drown in what NFTs are, and like keeping up, and even spaces, and minting work and engagement and conversations. All this stuff starts to get so overwhelming, and it got to the point where I started to really resent the space and what was happening. But then I realized, if I just thought about what life was like before NFTs, like everything was great. I was having a great time. I have a great career. I have a great family. I have a house. I'm solid. I don't I don't need NFTs. I like NFTs and I like the space, but I felt like I was in that space of needing. And the moment I checked my my expectations of it and my involvement, and just started to enjoy it more, it got way better. And like, I like where it's going, I like the possibilities in the future, but I don't let it consume me and my brain and how much I think about it and everything that's going on. Feel like I have to have my finger on every pulse because it's moving so quickly. It's like I'm working on a huge NFT project right now, but I'm in no rush. I'm not taking my time. I'm taking my time. I'm not under the expectation like it has to happen tomorrow. I mean, sure, it'd be great if it happened tomorrow, but it'd be terrible if it happened tomorrow. I'm going to only push it once it's done and once it's ready and I'm confident, because I don't even know if I can pull it off. But I think that's important to not overthink all of that too much.
You are so very appreciated, my friend. I am very glad that I've met you today because like your
Thank you
words
so much.
really resonate with me right now, and that's everything that I needed, even though I didn't know I needed it. So this is very good for me and for everyone in this room. So thank you for that. And
Well,
I
thank you. You're too
really
kind.
no. I mean, I really mean it. Of course, it's just sometimes you just need those things. Um, Especially because I don't know for you, but like for me, things have been a bit weird on and off, sales, whatever, contracts, all of that is just a mess right now. I don't have the time to think about that. Hence why I feel guilty every single morning waking up, but then I go back to sleep at night. I'm just like, it's life. I can't do anything against that. I gotta go with my own pace, create those things for myself, and carve my own routine into a bigger routine of like the routine of a community, which is not suited for me, which is fine. It's a fine thing to admit, I guess, that something is not made for you. But you can still enjoy it from afar or closer or at the distance that's comfortable for you.
Yeah, I think it's important to know that sometimes to go fast, you got to go slow, and to equate NFTs as to a new spectrum of art and creativity. It's to say like you needed to jump on the photography bandwagon when photos were invented or when paints were invented. Like, it's not going anywhere. It's something new. It's a new part of our space and our world, and that doesn't mean it's over in a year or two. It's going to have its ups and downs. It's going to go back and forth. It'll change, it'll morph, it'll be different. I mean, that's all to be expected. But the second we think like, oh my god, like I gotta cash in right now, we're in for all the wrong reasons. And you know kudos to anyone making gobs of money right now, and I hope it stays like that forever for you. But it may not, and then one day you'll have shit and pissed on all the client work that you had before that got you to where you were, that got you rich in NFTs. But now you're done with NFTs and they're done with you, and now you need client work. And it's a different kind of work, and being an artist is not an easy job. It's a massively full-time gig that requires a whole different spectrum of talent and self promotion and conversations. And I think the biggest thing I've fought this entire time is being authentic and finding myself becoming unauthentic and creating for the wrong reasons and going, well, no, 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 no. This isn't me, and I'm not going to pretend it's me just to make some bank, because that's not what I want. I want to be very proud of what I step behind and what I put out there, and that's what I try to do. And I think I caught myself just before I started to slip down that space of creating for all the wrong reasons, and now I'm back into creating for all the right reasons.
Good for you, man. That's not an easy thing to admit to yourself, and it's not an easy thing to shift from. You know,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah.
Thanks for your honesty on that. Really appreciate it. It's hard to admit those things like in front of others, I guess, or just in front of yourself. So I really appreciate you for doing so. I'm very proud of you as well.
I'm painfully honest, so sorry to everyone who endures my honesty throughout my life.
It's okay. I'm honest as well. But yeah, I get you. I was like that as well before. Now I just feel numbness and vulnerability, which is
uh, I think you might be getting a little bit rugged.
oh
No,
sorry. What's
no,
happening?
Now I can hear you when you said sorry, but you said, "Yeah, I'm feeling vulnerable," and then you probably said a whole bunch of stuff that we didn't
I know.
hear.
I was like, I feel like we missed out on a bunch of stuff right there.
And my deepest, darkest secret is, yeah.
Yeah.
Every single day, so we don't care about that. But anyways, on that note, it's already been an hour, so we're gonna have to cut it off there. But wow, I had such an amazing time, and I so needed this because like my life is turning to shit right now. So that feels really great to just hear from others, and just that makes me feel so good right now. So thank you all for your input, for your honesty, your vulnerability, and everything that you put into the world, which you may know not understand and value as much as you should, but you are doing this and it affects others in the best way possible. So thank you for that.
Thank you for the platform. Appreciate it.
Of course, of course. So we will be back anytime soon. I can't obviously give you a date right now because moving out and all of that jazz, but I will keep everyone updated on my socials and on the Heal the Deal socials as well. And yeah, that's all for me. Thank you so much. Fest, you want to say anything?
No, I'm fine. Thanks everyone who joined today and listened to the conversation. It's always
Yay.
cool to have people here for this chill chat. So yeah, see everyone next time.
Yeah,
Thank you.
Cheers.
best of
Thanks,
luck with
everyone.
your
Take
best of
care
luck
and
with your move.
don't forget, drink water, wear your SPF, and you're gonna be okay. It's gonna be
Yes.
fine.
Thank
Thank
you so
you.
much
Have a
for
good
having
day,
me.
everyone.
Yeah.
Bye bye.